Listen closely, and the story of IKEA begins with a sound, cardboard sliding across steel. Inside this box is a piece of furniture that has already moved through raw material production, a factory, a distribution network, and a self-service store. Every stage should have added weight, labor, space, and cost. Yet the final object can still arrive with a price that feels strangely small for the journey behind it. The obvious explanation is the flat pack, but a rectangular box cannot by itself explain a retail system operating in 63 markets and recording 915 million store visits in a year. The real answer begins before the product exists inside a target price. It continues through the material, the supplier, the package, the truck, the warehouse, and finally the customer. Because IKEA's most powerful innovation may not be the box at all, it may be the system and the role it quietly gives to you. In the 2025 financial year, IKEA generated 44.6 billion euros in total retail sales across all of its franchisees. Its stores recorded 915 million visits, and the brand operated in 63 markets. At that scale, a few saved centimeters inside one box can matter, but centimeters are only one part of the story. IKEA keeps prices low by treating design, materials, manufacturing, packaging, logistics, retail, and customer participation as one connected cost system. IKEA says its product development process begins with the price the product is intended to meet. Every decision after that must protect the target. A saving created at one stage is valuable only if the next stage does not spend it again. The product must be affordable to make, compact to move, simple to collect, and possible to assemble outside the factory. And this is not only a story about how IKEA became cheap decades ago. Recent financial results show what happened when the company deliberately pushed prices lower again. To understand that decision, we first have to return to the drawing board. IKEA describes a development process in which the target price is established at the beginning, not calculated only after a finished design exists. Designers, engineers, and suppliers then work inside that constraint, balancing form, function, quality, sustainability, and low price. That changes the questions asked at the first sketch. How thick does this surface truly need to be? Where does strength matter? And where would extra material simply add weight? Can a joint be made simpler without losing the function the customer needs? And will the finished dimensions fit efficiently into the package that must carry the product through the rest of the system? A less expensive material that requires extra reinforcement may not lower total cost, while an elegant curve that wastes shipping space can create expense long after manufacturing. The team, therefore, has to judge the product as part of a chain, not as an isolated object. The current La Captain tabletop offers one clear, product-specific example. IKEA describes it as a board-on-frame product with recycled paper filling, designed to use less raw material while remaining light and easier to transport. The engineering logic is not to make every product the same. It is to place the required material where the product needs it and avoid paying to purchase, process, and move material that adds no necessary function. IKEA says roughly 2,000 new products enter its range each year, repeating the same cost discipline across a range that large turns small design decisions into an operating system. The design also reaches beyond the object because IKEA sometimes changes a product so its package will work better. The box is already taking shape before the product is finished, and the work does not end in a design studio because IKEA says products and production methods are often developed together with suppliers. To understand why that collaboration matters, we need to correct the story usually told about where the flat pack began. Ingvar Kamprad registered IKEA on the 28th of July 1943 when he was 17 years old. A permanent showroom opened on the 30th of March 1953, allowing customers to inspect furniture before ordering it. room settings gave customers a way to experience the furniture as part of a home rather than as a small catalog image. That mattered because a low price is difficult to trust when the customer cannot see or touch the product. This was still years before the moment most people associate with IKEA's defining idea. The familiar story credits designer Gillis Lundgren with removing the legs from a table so it could fit into a car, helping inspire IKEA's flat pack approach. It is a neat origin story. It is also too neat. IKEA Museum dates the Lovett table to 1955 and its catalog appearance to 1956. But the same archive says Lovett was not IKEA's first self-assembly product. Delphi, Kuxa, and Riga tables were already shown as self-assembly items in the 1953 catalog, so IKEA did not invent self-assembly furniture in one dramatic moment. Its achievement was to develop flat packing systematically and commercially during the 1950s. The distinction matters. An isolated flat pack product can be copied, but a company organized around self-assembly can redesign every stage that touches it. The product, the box, the showroom, and the customer's role gradually began to fit together. The first full IKEA store opened in Elmhult on the 28th of October 1958. There, room settings could sell the idea of a finished home, while flat packs made the purchase easier to take away. The box had become more than packaging, but IKEA still needed factories capable of producing the idea at the right price and at growing scale. IKEA's historical archive says that a boycott by Sweden's furniture trade in the mid-1950s restricted the company's access to domestic suppliers. The pressure pushed IKEA to look beyond Sweden. In January 1961, representatives traveled to Poland and began building relationships with factories there. IKEA's account says long contracts, large volumes, and new production technology helped those factories reduce costs. The important idea was not simply to find the lowest quote, it was to give a supplier enough scale and continuity to justify changing how the product was made. Large orders can spread fixed expenses, such as tooling and production setup, across more finished units. A long relationship also gives IKEA and the supplier time to refine cutting, joints, material yield, packing, and production speed. With greater certainty about future orders, a supplier can justify investments that would be harder to support for a short production run. When those improvements reduce unit costs, the price-first design has a better chance of surviving contact with the factory. Today, IKEA says it works with roughly 1,500 suppliers in total. About 800 of them are home furnishing suppliers spread across 55 countries. The average supplier relationship lasts 11 years. External suppliers manufacture about 90% of the IKEA range, while IKEA industry produces about 10%. That network allows a price target created during design to reach machinery, tooling, material choices, and production speed. The supplier is not positioned only at the end of the process. It helps determine whether the process can work at all. But a low factory cost can be lost quickly if a finished chair or table occupies too much expensive space on the journey to the customer. That is where the geometry of the box becomes the geometry of the entire network. Imagine loading a truck with furniture that is already assembled. Curved backs, extended legs, and empty spaces between objects consume volume that cannot be sold. Now collapse the same idea into measured rectangles that can sit tightly beside and above one another. The truck has not become larger, the space has become more useful. IKEA says its designers sometimes alter a product's shape or detail specifically to improve the package. Stackable, space-efficient boxes allow more products to fit into each shipment and can reduce the number of lorries required. The same geometry continues working inside a distribution center where rectangular packages are easier to stack, locate, and move. More regular packages can also reduce awkward handling and make storage locations easier to standardize across large quantities. A fully assembled object needs protection around its finished shape. A flat pack protects separate components inside a controlled rectangle. That rectangle can pass through several systems without being unpacked, rebuilt, and packed again at every handover. It continues into the self-service warehouse where the customer can retrieve the package without IKEA first assembling the product, and it continues into a car, lift, or stairwell on the final journey home. One decision about a dimension can therefore affect the pallet, the container, the warehouse location, and the customer's ability to carry the product. IKEA reports handling about 1.7 million shipments each year. At that scale, repeated improvements in weight, dimensions, and handling can compound across the network. There is no reliable public figure showing that flat packing cuts every IKEA product by one universal percentage. The evidence supports the mechanism, not a single magic number. Flat packing matters because the product and package are designed to remove waste at several connected stages. And the package does something else as well. It transfers the next stages of the journey to the person buying it. In the classic IKEA journey, the showroom presents a finished room, but the warehouse presents a job. The customer records a product location, retrieves the flat pack, moves it to the checkout, and transports it home. The customer then performs the final assembly. Picking, home transport, and assembly are therefore not automatically included in the base product price. IKEA offers paid delivery and assembly services, but the customer can choose to perform those steps instead. A buyer who is willing to spend time can avoid paying for some of that convenience. A buyer who prefers convenience can purchase services instead. Separating those choices allows IKEA to avoid building delivery and assembly costs into every base product sold. The labor has not vanished, it has changed hands. The physical store model also developed through cost pressure and accident. IKEA opened its Stockholm store on inexpensive land outside the city on the 18th of June 1965. A fire damaged the store on the 5th of September 1970. When the rebuilt store opened its warehouse to customers in 1971, self-service collection became a defining part of the model. Large stores, flat packs, and customer picking now reinforced one another. Inexpensive land made space possible, the warehouse held compact inventory, and customers completed the final meters of logistics themselves. That does not mean IKEA is frozen in the out-of-town blue box era. In FY25, stores generated 69% of IKEA sales, online channels generated 28%, and services generated 3%. The channels have changed, but the underlying principle remains. The base product and the optional services can be priced separately. By the time the final screw is tightened, the customer has completed a production step that many furniture retailers perform before delivery. IKEA has not merely designed a product in a store, it has designed a role for the customer inside the value chain. Scaling that role across dozens of markets requires more than stores with the same colors. IKEA is not one simple operating company. IKEA owns the concept, develops the product range, and manages supply, while franchisees operate retail businesses under the IKEA system. In FY25, there were 13 franchise groups. The annual franchise fee was equal to 3% of each franchisee's net sales. That structure helps one product range, brand, and set of working methods travel across markets while local franchisees run retail operations. The range can be developed centrally, suppliers can manufacture for shared demand, and retail methods can be repeated without one company directly operating every store. Local retail operations still face their own markets, but they work inside a common system. It also creates two financial numbers that sound similar but describe different things. The 44.6 billion euros reported as total IKEA retail sales represents sales generated by all franchisees. IKEA Group reported 26.306 billion euros in revenue for fiscal year 25. The figures must never be combined or presented as if they belong to the same company perimeter. IKEA earns mainly from supplying the range and from franchise fees, while the customer's retail purchase is recorded by the relevant franchisee. IKEA's foundation-linked ownership is often treated as another secret behind the price. The available evidence describes the ownership structure and records executives saying it supports long-term decisions. It does not prove that the ownership structure itself makes a table cheaper. The stronger evidence lies in the operating system and in what happened when IKEA used that system to cut prices again. During FY24, Inca Group, IKEA's largest retailer, said it invested more than 2.1 billion euros in lowering prices. Reuters later reported that average IKEA prices had fallen by roughly 10% over 2 years. The FY25 numbers show the bargain behind that decision. Total IKEA retail sales fell by 1% to 44.6 billion euros, but sales volume rose by 2.6%. In other words, lower prices helped IKEA sell more units even while the total value of retail sales declined slightly. This is why sales value alone can hide what is happening underneath. A retailer can move more products and still collect less revenue per product when average prices fall. The customers saw greater affordability. The company saw pressure move into its margins. Inside IKEA Group, gross margin fell from 16% to 14.2%. Gross margin measures what remains after the cost of goods sold is deducted from revenue before operating expenses and other items. A lower margin means less room remains from each euro of revenue to support the rest of the business. Operating income fell from 2.339 billion euros to 1.725 billion euros. Using the rounded published figures, that is a calculated decline of 26.3%. Net income fell from 2.199 billion euros to 1.496 billion euros. Using the same method, that is a calculated decline of 32%. These figures do not show that every IKEA product became cheaper or that every market behaved the same way. They do show the system-level trade-off. IKEA lowered prices, sold more units, and accepted lower margins and profit. Low price was not simply a slogan, it was a financial decision with a measurable cost. But costs do not disappear just because they leave the price tag. Some are transferred to customer time and labor, others appear in the material footprint required to produce at enormous volume. For FY25, IKEA reported purchasing 14.7 million cubic meters, measured as roundwood equivalent of wood and paper for manufacturing IKEA products. It said 96.5% of that material was FSC certified or recycled. That is a significant sourcing measure, but it does not make the physical impact of millions of products disappear. By fiber volume, 81% was virgin and 19% was recycled. Those percentages describe sourcing, not the end of the product's life. IKEA's own sustainability statement acknowledges that high product volumes increase end-of-life impacts and that reliable downstream disposal data is limited. Composite products that use glued particle board or fiber board can also be difficult to disassemble and recycle. The same FY25 statement omitted a total greenhouse gas figure while IKEA refined its methodology. It also said a climate transition plan and a comprehensive climate resilience analysis were not yet in place. These are not reasons to pretend IKEA has no sustainability program. They are reasons to distinguish targets from completed results. External pressure continues as well. An Inca executive said in 2024 that tariffs make low prices harder to maintain. In May 2026, IKEA announced 850 role reductions as part of a drive for faster decisions and a lower cost base. The system that removes cost from a box also demands continuous cost reduction from the organization behind it, and the scale that makes furniture affordable multiplies the material challenge of what happens after millions of products are sold. IKEA's greatest strength is also the source of its hardest long-term problem. So how does IKEA keep furniture so cheap? It begins with a price target, then engineers the product, material, and package around it. It uses large continuing orders and designs production with suppliers. It moves compact boxes through a self-service retail system and lets customers complete transport and assembly when they choose. IKEA does not make each cost disappear. It decides where in the system that cost will be carried. Scale strengthens every step, while people, profits, and material systems carry the pressure. The low price is both an achievement and a demanding bargain. No single trick explains the final price. Each part works because the others support it. The flat pack is the visible symbol. The system around it is IKEA's real product.